Alright, welcome back to another MLB video on Double R Sports. Today we're doing our MLB projections for 2023. I'm going to go through each division, talk about who I think is going to win each division, how they're going to rank, how many wins each team's going to get. I didn't do this necessarily through like a mathematical simulator, so it might be a little off the math on some of them, but other than that. And then I'm going to talk about the war leader for each team, and then I'm going to go into the postseason and then the awards. So I'm excited to do this. I hope you guys enjoy. If a prediction on here seems too bold for you, I probably thought that myself. I tried to sneak in some of my dark horse picks into here, but ultimately I think this is pretty accurate based on where the teams stand right now. So let me know what you guys think below in the comments. Alright, so coming out hot here, we have the National League East. Now, this division is probably the most talked about division. Each team seems to have had an interesting offseason. But for me, the big team here is the Braves. They won the World Series 2 years ago. Okay, they lose Freddie Freeman, but they have Matt Olson. And if Matt Olson's not good enough for you, then they add the 1 and 2 Rookie of the Year candidates for the National League last year. This team is stacked. They lost Dansby. I think a lot of people are thinking maybe they'll fall out because Dansby was one of the leaders of the team and had a really high WAR total last year. But look at who I have as a WAR leader. Sean Murphy was an amazing pickup. I mean, this is one of the best defensive catchers in baseball who also can hit, who's joining a team that's incredible with developing young players. So Sean Murphy's going to be insane there. I've got the Mets in second. Insane team overall. Have dealt with some injuries. That's why the Braves definitely take it from here. I would have picked them before, but now I'm definitely confident with the injuries the other teams have faced. But the Mets, yeah, really exciting. Great rotation. Great offseason. They could really make some noise. The Phillies, I'm a little unsure about because they're a very boomer-bust team. They made the World Series last year. They were awesome in the postseason, but they have a lot of holes for a team that's looking to contend, and I'm not sure if they'll be able to make the postseason this year with the injuries to guys like Bryce Harper and Hoskins, even with a great addition like Trey Turner, who's going to be their WAR leader. For the Marlins, I don't want to disrespect the Marlins. I want to believe in them, but I just don't see it. Sandy's awesome. He might regress, he might not. We'll see. I have him as their WAR leader. And then the Nationals, I like K-Barry Ruiz, I'll say that. But yeah, 63 wins. One of the worst teams in the National League for sure, but they won a World Series not that long ago, so it's kind of worth it. Alright, the National League Central. This is not the most exciting division. I really think it's the Cardinals' division to lose. I mean, the Cardinals are an incredible team. That lineup is one of the best in baseball. It is loaded. Their defense is also insane. They've got some great defensive players, some guys with great gloves. Pitching, I don't know, but again, this is a team with Arenado, who's incredible. Paul Goldschmidt, reigning MVP. They added Wilson Contreras, who's one of the better offensive catchers in baseball. And then look out for Lars Nootbaar. I know he's kind of been a meme, and now he's getting a lot of hype because of the World Baseball Classic, but if you look into the raw data, he's got some of the best raw data of any player. He's got incredible plate discipline, and he hits balls hard. He could be an MVP-type player, and I'm not even kidding. He is good. Second place, we've got the Brewers. This is an interesting scenario for me because I'm putting them outside the postseason because I think that if they are outside the postseason later into the season around the trade deadline, they could sell. We've seen that the relationship with Corbin Burns seems beyond repair. He's going to get moved eventually. And I think the Brewers are the type of team that will want to capitalize on this because I think they've realized they can't win a World Series with this core. They can only kind of contend for a wild card spot. They kind of lost their chance after 2021. Their offense isn't the best, even if it had good results last year. So we could see a Corbin Burns trade and potentially like a Willy Adames trade. There are rumors of that as well. So two great players, but I believe in their pitching staff. They have an incredible pitching staff. I mean, their rotation is insane. I have Freddie Peralta actually leading them in WAR. I think this is going to be his big season. But I just think they're going to miss the postseason based on the fact that if they're just kind of outside, they might consider selling, which could be actually a smart move for them. The Cubs, I just don't see it. Some people have said they could sneak in. I just don't see it. I think they added some players that I'd consider almost to be flat out bad in the offseason. Ian Happ's good. He might get traded. That could be a thing that happens. We'll see. I don't know. I'm just not high on the Cubs. I think the Pirates could be fun. I think they could beat some decent teams. They're not going to win a lot of games, but I don't know. I'm a little higher on some of their guys than a lot of other people. I think they don't have a good team, but I think it's a little better than some people might think. And then the Reds are, they're as bad as I think some people say, unfortunately. Alright, so this might be controversial, but I think the National League West could be the most competitive division in the National League. The Padres are a loaded team. I think Soto's going to have that bounce back. I think we could see Tatis play really well. Xander Bogaerts, they got him. Pitching, it's not bad. I think it's one of those things that's very much criticized with the Padres is their rotation isn't the best, but it's actually better than a lot of other teams, so I don't know. I think they could win 100 games. The Dodgers, I think they're going to take a bit of a step back. They definitely took a big hit to their depth. They've taken some hits to their depth over the past couple years. They still have a pretty good rotation, and their bullpen seems to be magical every season now. Since they had those bullpen problems a few years ago, now that seems to be their biggest strength. The Giants could be really good. I'm going to say this right now. I think this is a team that doesn't have a lot of holes. They don't have star power, but they are pretty good at everything. They've got a pretty good rotation, a pretty good bullpen, and pretty good lineup. They've got a lot of good players. The guys they added in the offseason are good players. Manaea maybe not, but we have Mitch Haniger, and then you add in Jock Peterson. They didn't add him, but you retain him. I mean, and then you get to add Michael Conforto, who is really good. Yeah, they're definitely bringing in a lot of good players, and they kind of struck out on some of the other guys, but look out for this Giants team. Diamondbacks, I've seen some people say make the postseason, and they definitely could. I think there's still some holes there. I don't know if they're going to win a lot of games, but they could flip-flop with the Giants. They could be the team that's the dark horse, and the Giants could be the team that goes below 500, but they definitely have something good going on there. They're kind of lacking some of the depth in their pitching staff, but they definitely made some changes to the bullpen that could improve it. And then the Rockies, Chris Bryant might bounce back. I don't know, but I think overall they kind of stink. I hate to say it. Okay, I'm going to stay out west because why not? I'm going to talk about the American League West. The Astros have been the best team in baseball for quite a while now. Yes, they cheated in 2017, but they've proven that they can win fairly, and they have such a loaded team that it's actually crazy. I think that the Astros are going to be a team that can win 100 games. I have them at 99. I think Jordan's going to be one of the best players in baseball again. It's going to be insane. The Mariners, I've not always been the quickest to buy into the hype for the Mariners, and I really like the Mariners. I'll admit they're definitely my favorite team in this division. But I haven't really bought into the hype of their rotation like some people are selling. Some people are saying it's like a top 5 rotation. I don't know about that, but what I can say, their bullpen is nuts. I think their lineup has some really, really good pieces to it, and Julio Rodriguez, one of the most fun players ever. Okay, Angels. I think the Angels are going to be a good team this year. They really improved upon a lot, and I think that the Angels are going to have a good year for Ohtani and Trout. Unfortunately, the AL is kind of stacked, so I don't think they're going to make the postseason, but they're going to break 500. The Texas Rangers, they're going to be about 500. Honestly, I could see them even flipping with the Mariners. They have something good going there. I think this is kind of their first season with this, fully laid out squad that they've got going here. The rotation could be nasty. It also could be injury prone. We'll see from that. They have a lot of injury prone guys there, but when those guys are healthy, some of the better pitchers in baseball. A guy like Haney in a big ballpark could be electric, believe it or not. As much as a lot of people like to criticize Andrew Haney, he does have that long ball issue, but he strikes guys out like crazy. So in a big stadium, we'll see. I don't know. And then the Athletics are going to be the worst team in baseball. I hate to say it, but they're just going to be the worst. Okay, moving on to the American League Central. I think that the Guardians are going to take this. I've seen a lot of people pick some of the other teams in here, but the Guardians are just really good. Jose Ramirez is kind of the best face they can have because he's not the most well-known guy, unfortunately, but he should be because he's really good. And the Guardians seem to get the best out of their players every year. They seem to have kind of that devil magic that the Cardinals had for a little while. And guys like Steven Kwan and Andres Jimenez, the analytics say they might regress, and I'm usually an analytics guy, but I don't know. Some of what I saw from those guys really shows that they've got high potential to be some of the better players in baseball. I mean, Steven Kwan's defense alone is insane. Same with Jimenez. They're an excellent defensive team. They've had some luck with hitting, but they also seem to have a good approach at the plate, and their pitching is really good. They have one of the best bullpens and one of the better rotations. The Chicago White Sox, I think this team's going to be a little better, and I think they're definitely going to contend. They seem to have health issues, and to be fair, largely that's due to injury-prone players, but pretty good rotation, pretty good lineup, pretty good bullpen. I don't know, they're pretty good all around. Dylan Cease is going to be electric again this year. The Twins, I have below 500, which I hate to do that, but I'm not quite as sold on them as a lot of people seem to be. A lot of people are hyping them up. Carlos Correa, of course, is amazing. Byron Buxton is insane. Will those two be healthy? We'll see. I think losing Luis Arraez is a bit of a hit, and I know they have some good bats, but I don't think Pablo Lopez was enough to get back for a contending team. I don't think he's quite that guy. As much as he's always been one of my favorite players to root for, I think he seems like a really cool guy, and he's fun to watch, but as a whole, I'm not really sold on the rotation. A lot of people say it's a bunch of solid number 2s, but I think they're kind of more like 3s and 4s at this stage of their career, so I'm not too sure about the Twins. The Royals, I don't really see much from them. I like Vinny Pasquantino. I think he's awesome. Everyone loves Bobby Witt. I'm not sold on him yet, but he's got that high potential. And the Tigers are going to be really bad this year, unfortunately. Moving on to probably the best division in baseball, the one that it feels like everybody's got a different ranking for. I'm going with the Toronto Blue Jays at 1. I mean, the Blue Jays are just insane. What made me realize this team is so good is just coming up with their WAR leader. They had like 5 or 6 guys that could lead in that category. Depends on who's healthy and who's performing compared to the standards that are set for them. Like a guy like Dalton Varsho could come in and have his best hitting season and combine that with his positional versatility, be like a 6-7 WAR type guy. But the Blue Jays are insane. One of the best lineups I've seen in a long time. I'm not even kidding. I think their lineup is almost underrated by some. It's that good. Even with a guy like Kiermaier swinging a pool noodle, his defense is really good. Rotation, I wouldn't call it top 5. I don't even know if I'd say it's top 10, but it's really good. You've got some really great guys, Manoah, Gosman. So yeah, amazing team. The Rays are interesting. I think a lot of people have ridden them off, but looking at this Rays team, if you make them all healthy, I guess this is a bit of an assumption because, again, the Rays have struggled with injuries, but if you take a healthy Rays team, I think they're actually better than the last few Rays teams. That includes a World Series appearance and a division winner. So I think this Rays team, the rotation could be the best in baseball if it's healthy. Again, that's a big if. And some guys like Wander and Brandon Lau have looked really good in spring training. I know spring training doesn't mean a lot, but they've looked really good apparently. So I think the Rays could win this division, but I've got them second here. A lot of people might be surprised to see the Yankees in third, but I think the Yankees kind of fell off towards the end of last year. Some of their star guys, in particular, like Garrett Cole, who an amazing pitcher, but his barrel rates continue to increase, and I'm not sure if that's some regression. And I'm not sure if Aaron Judge will be the same in a non-contract year. This is still going to be a postseason team, but I don't think they're quite as good as the other two, I'll be honest with you, even with the addition of Rodon. The Orioles, a lot of people want to put them as the third or even second place team in this division. It's just not quite there yet. They're a good team. Adley's going to be insane. Gunnar Henderson's going to be insane. But the rotation, I'd consider it to be one of the weakest in the American League. And I just think this team isn't quite there yet. The Red Sox, very much a boom or bust team. I've got them more leaning towards bust. But if their guys perform, maybe it's a boom team. I don't know. But I've got them in last in this division just because I think the likelihood of them being that great team is just kind of low. Okay, so here's my postseason outlook. So for the National League, as you can see, I got the Braves, Padres, and Cardinals winning their division. I've got the Mets as the first wild card. I think it's basically been penciled in that whoever comes second in the National League East is going to be the first wild card. And the Dodgers in the wild card 2, I think that they're going to take a step back, but it's still the Dodgers. I can't bet against them. Every time we bet against them, they have like 115 wins. So, like, I don't know. And then the Giants are going to be my third wild card. I think that they like to bounce back a fair bit every time that they have a bad season. And I don't know. I like their offseason. I think they're a more well-rounded team than some of the other contenders that may have some more star power, but they've got a good team. It's not an amazing team, but it's a good team, and I think it's good enough to sneak in that wild card 3 spot. Okay, for the American League, I think the Astros are going to win again. I think the Blue Jays and Astros might even have around the same amount of wins. But those are going to be the 2 best teams. And then the Guardians, I'm going to have them as the 3rd team, again, because they're going to win their AL Central, which is one of the weaker divisions. I've got the Rays as wildcard 1. Again, I mentioned before, I think that they could be a better team than the last few Rays teams, and those teams have had extreme success. Mariners, got to put them in there. They're overall a very well-rounded team. Then Yankees wildcard 3. Again, I know the Yankees fans might not be happy, and this is probably not a common placement for them, but I just don't see it with the way that team kind of spiraled towards the end of last year with guys like Garrett Cole not looking like themselves. And will Judge be the same in a non-contract year? Will he be able to put up those 62 home runs? He really did carry the team in the second half, so we'll see. Alright, so my World Series is, believe it or not, the Guardians versus the Braves. Yeah, this is a bit of a weird one. I almost put a team like the Blue Jays or the Rays as the AL winner, but, I'm going to go with the Guardians. I think that the Guardians, I don't know, there's just something about this team that's making me want to pick them to win the American League. I think, yes, they've had some luck with their batted ball data, but they also don't strike out, and their team seems to have really good plate discipline. They've added some power in Zunino and Josh Bell this past offseason. This is a team that's fairly young, that seems hungry, that wants to get better, that really kind of took the Yankees to the ringer last year. I think this Guardians team could finally show up and be the best team in the AL, at least in the postseason. I don't know if they're the best team overall, but this just seems like a team that could go on a postseason run. But I do think they're going to run into a buzzsaw in the Braves. I think they're going to be the best team in the NL all season long, and then they're going to kind of make their way through. They could have some tough competition throughout the postseason, but I think they're going to make the World Series. They're going to show that experience, and the guys that aren't experienced are some of their best players, and they're going to win it all in 6 games. So the Braves are your World Series champions. Alright, just quickly, I wanted to pick the rookies of the year. I'm not as well versed on MLB prospects as maybe I should be, so I'm not going to be like a top 5 for this category. But I'm going to go with Jordan Walker. I've always believed in Jordan Walker. He's always been a good-looking prospect wherever he's been. And he's a guy that I've heard a lot about, and he's a guy that I've always said he's going to be the rookie of the year when he comes up. So I'm going to stick with that. He looked really good in spring training. A lot of people are talking about him. And then for the AL rookie of the year, I'm going to take Yoshida. A bit of a safe choice over some of the more young talent that's coming in. This is a guy that's very experienced over in the Japanese leagues, but I think he's just got the skill sets that are really going to translate. When you have a really good eye and really good bat-to-ball skills, that really translates well wherever you go, and I think Yoshida's going to be one of the better players on the Red Sox, and I think he's a bit of a safe pick, but I'm going to go with it because I really like his game, and I think that he's going to put up really good numbers in MLB. He seems to project very well. Alright, time to talk about my favorite awards race every year. Cy Young's always the most important awards race. Always the most important thing, honestly, of the regular season for me. So I'm excited to talk about this. So I'm going to go through the National League. Number 5, I've got Corbin Burns. Really good pitcher. Could win it all. Probably top 5, top 3, maybe top 2, maybe top 1 pitcher in baseball. So, he's got to be in that top 5, even if he has a bit of an off season. Number 4, I've got Logan Webb. I really believe in Logan Webb. He's one of my favorite pitchers. I actually got to see one of his first games in MLB, so that was really exciting. He didn't look too great in that game, but I think he's going to have a bit of a bounce-back year, even though he had an awesome year last year. I think he could be even better, with a better defense behind him, maybe. Zach Gallen, I've got at number 3. I think he deserves that nomination. He really could have been nominated last year. It just was a really close Cy Young race. There's like 5 or 6 guys that could have been in that top 3. Alright, so the top 2. Number 2, I got Spencer Strider. Strider probably will win this whole thing. He could win it. He probably will. I think he could be the best pitcher in baseball. But I'd want to have some fun and pick my dark horse as my actual winner in Freddie Peralta. I think his strikeout stuff is really good, but also he seems to have gotten a lot better at managing contact. He had his barrel rate way down last season. And a lot of the newer peripherals that take a look at everything, like the P-Craws of the world, have him ranked as like a top 10 pitcher. So I think Freddie Peralta's coming out party is basically now, and I think he's going to be healthy and put together an excellent season. And maybe in the fall, you guys would be like, holy, you got that one right. For the American League, okay, number 5 on my list, I've got Jacob deGrom. He could be the best pitcher in baseball on a rate basis, but I just think he's going to have some of those short-term injuries, maybe not get as long of a leash at first, so I think I'm going to have him at 5. I don't think he'll have the innings. Ohtani could be the same. There could be a chance that he doesn't quite have the innings because he plays more baseball than everyone else, so that's why I have him outside of the top 3. Both 2 of the most talented, if not the 2 most talented pitchers in the American League, but can you put them in the top 3 when there's so many questions about their innings amount? I don't know. Okay, number 3, I've got Alek Manoah. He's just been really good ever since he got called up. He's consistent. Do the peripherals say he'll be consistently great every year? No, but the results have said he's been really, really good. So another third-place finish could be in the books. Second place, I've got Dylan Cease, one of the nastiest pitchers. It seems that a lot of people are very critical of his walk issue, which I understand. He walks a lot of batters, but that could be the narrative moving forward. If he doesn't get that curbed, he might not get as many votes. That seems to have been the talk of the offseason. Well, Dylan Cease is good, but he walks guys. And number 1, I've got Shane McClanahan. He was the best pitcher for the first half of last season, and unfortunately he kind of fell off due to some fatigue issues, some injury issues. But over the offseason, as I've heard in interviews, he has really prepared and changed his diet and is really focused on the durability. And I think that he's going to, with that experience and with that added durability, he's going to dominate and look like that same first half of last season pitcher for an entire season. Alright, so let's finish this off by talking MVPs. National League, number 5, Manny Machado, because every season Manny Machado is going to be in the top 5. Number 4, I've got Sean Murphy. This is largely based on my WAR projection, but I had to put him on here. I'm not sure if he'll get that level of hype based on the fact that if he'll get that WAR total or not, but I feel like he had to be top 5 just because I gave him that many WAR. Number 3, I'm going to have Austin Riley. Again, I don't think he'll get as many WAR as Sean Murphy, but I think he'll have an insane power hitting season, just an insane season at the plate overall. He's not the best defensively, but I think he'll be the best offensive third baseman this next year. It seems like he's been trending that way every season, getting a little better, and he's shown flashes of it. I think this is definitely going to be his year, probably his career year. I'm really feeling Austin Riley right now. Number 2, I've got Mookie Betts. Again, another guy that's kind of always a shoe-in to finish top 5, but it sounds like he's been working on his power a lot in the offseason, so maybe we could see him. I think he did hit his high in home runs this past season. I think he could build on that and hit for more power and have his numbers go up. And number 1, Juan Soto. I think that Juan Soto is going to prove that he is not overrated like people have been calling him because he had a bit of a bad bat-to-ball data-based season last year. But, Juan Soto, when he's healthy, when he's playing at his best, is one of the best offensive players I've ever seen in my life. He walks the most of any player since Bonds, and his bat-to-ball skills are insane, and he's got crazy good power. He's offensively could be the best player in baseball. Field, maybe not the best, but Juan Soto, he's going to have that MVP year. He honestly could have had it. I think he would have had my vote in 2021 and in 2020, but he didn't win those. But Juan Soto, one of the best. And then in the American League, I have got Wander Franco at number 5. I think he's going to have that breakout season, and I think he's going to put up, around 6-7 WAR, be amazing defensively, finally be healthy, and show why he was that top prospect. Number 4, Aaron Judge. Definitely going to be some voter fatigue on this one if he doesn't replicate what he did last year, which, spoiler alert, he won't, but he'll have a dang good season. Mike Trout, number 3. If Mike Trout's healthy, he's pretty much a lock to be in that top 3 no matter what. Number 2, Yordan Alvarez. Again, one of the best hitters in baseball. Again, not the best fielder, but he's kind of an AL Juan Soto, maybe a little more power, less plate discipline. They're both these guys that are borderline DHs that are play in the field sometimes, but are just so good at just overall hitting, everything that has to do with hitting, that they're MVP type guys. And then number 1, Ohtani. I don't think I have to say anything more. Top 5 pitcher, top 5 hitter type guy. Yeah. Alright, so that will do it for this video. Let me know what your guys' predictions are below, and I will see you guys all later. Goodbye, everybody.